Welcome back to Amerisogyny. I'm your host, Hannah Blue. You're listening to episode 92, Roses and Thorns. Now, why am I calling this episode that? Well, it's getting warm outside, and the gardeners are getting busy to plant their crops and lovely flowers. And I will be too in a minute. I'm just waiting for the weather to prove to me that it's going to be warm and stay warm for the long run. Today, we're going to talk about some things that will make you feel good, but they're going to be mixed in with the thorny parts of life. I have some stories that may not be very pleasant to hear, but we can all learn lessons from each of them. So let's get it started, people. Our first stop is an ancient place that we don't hear about very often, but the civilians made significant contributions to the world. Today it's called Iran, but in ancient times it was called Persia. Now, why are we discussing Persia? Because Iran is all in our business and we're at war. Now, I'm going to make this perfectly clear. I don't have a problem with Iran. I have a problem with our administration right here in the United States because they are corrupt, evil, greedy, and got us into a stupid war for no good reason. So without further ado, let's get going and talk about these amazing contributions that we should know about. I mean, God, how many years have we heard about ancient Rome and ancient Greece? Amazon has over 20,000 books on both, but Persia doesn't even have a section. I think that's positively criminal. Yeah, Persia is responsible for Iran being a proud and distinct place, and the Persians were once one of the greatest civilizations in the world. So what did they do that was so great? Number one, it was the Persians who introduced the royal road. From 550 to 330 BCE, they built a network of over 2,500 kilometers of roads. Now, you might be saying, roads, that's not so great. It actually is, because without good roads, many empires would be collections of disconnected and temporarily cowed vessels. Number two, the Persians invented a functioning postal system called the Shapar Khane, and I hope I'm saying that right. Now, the Egyptians and the Assyrians had writing and courier services, but it was only under Darius I, which was 548 to 486 BCE, that the world got its first network of relay systems and postal houses. A Persian postman would get his sack, hop on a horse, and got those letters to people much faster than Jeff Bezos does today. That's why a lot of people don't pay for Prime anymore. 2 days my foot. Number three, the Persians had religious tolerance. I wish we had some of that today. There's nothing wrong with having melting pots. And back in the day, the ancient Persians proved that. Back then, people who were conquered by the emperors were allowed to keep their beliefs and religious practices as long as they didn't upset the stability of the empire. Now, I don't like when Christianity is spit on, but I also don't like when it's forced on other people. I believe people should be allowed to practice whatever they want. I also think that racial intolerance is just plain stupid. Ancient Persia was quite diverse. It spanned 3 continents, and there were many tribes, ethnicities, and religious identities. Now, if people could get along over 4,000 years ago, what excuse do we have today to have race wars or religious wars? At 4,000 years old, Zoroastrianism is possibly the oldest monotheistic religion. Now just think of what we could accomplish if we all worked together. Before the Persians, Egyptians and Assyrians forced people to bow to their gods and adopt their ways. The Babylonians forced Jews to stop worshiping. The Persians are the first significant claimants to being as close to tolerant as the ancient world could be. And I'd say we could all learn a lot from ancient Persia. Now we're going to talk about the final contribution on the list. Can you guess what it is? I'll give you a hint. They're big, smell delicious, and are oh so appetizing. Nope, it's not a cheesecake. It's not a car either, although I do love the smell of a new car. Now, while some of us are gearing up our seeds and getting those raised beds ready, I'll bet you didn't know where gardens originated from. Ancient Persia. The Persians saw a garden as a paradise on earth, and anyone who could afford to hire a gardener had one. Persian gardens had beautiful varieties of plants and flowing water features. I like fountains to this day. I saw a couple on Temu that I'm thinking about buying. You know, not to get off the subject, but Temu has some pretty good stuff. This is not a paid promotion. I'm just letting you guys know. And when I tell you the Romans copied the Persians, they did. There was a Roman statesman who saw their gardens firsthand while he was on a diplomatic mission. Today, it's known as Turkey. But when he got back home, he brought a little bit of Persia to Rome with him and named his gardens after him. Well, the Romans caught on, and pretty soon gardens were so viral, even the Europeans wanted them. As the apple of the world's eye for half a millennium, it was the first empire to bring together people under one state. It was the first to recognize that diversity and multiculturalism is an asset, not a liability. But when some historians get together, they choose to overlook it. But when we think of ancient Persia, who is today now known as Iran, we cannot forget the roads, the postal service, and centralized administrative bureaucracy that was founded on their shoulders. And that is a bit about Persia. So when you think of ancient Persia, put a bit of respect on their name, okay? Now that was a flowery story, wasn't it? Pretty good for stoking good vibes. Now we're going to get into some thorny stories. And there is no destination for this one other than social media. But before I get into that, Amerisogyny started out as a mental health podcast, but gradually it started going more towards pop culture. And I think I'm going to keep moving in that direction. We Americans have a saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, if you're in another country outside of the United States and you're listening to me, you may have heard about these two women and you may not. I'm talking about actress Ruby Rose and singer Katy Perry. According to Ruby Rose, Katy Perry sexually assaulted her nearly 20 years ago. Now, according to Perry's rep, her claims are nothing but reckless lies. But you know us, we're going to get into it and decide for ourselves who is telling the truth and who isn't. Ruby Rose hopped on social media and claimed that Katy Perry sexually assaulted her in a nightclub nearly 20 years ago. I initially saw Ruby Rose in John Wick 2. She also starred in Orange is the New Black. I think she's a pretty lady, but she's been surrounded by controversy. Well, on April 12th, she decided to spill the beans about what Katy Perry allegedly did, and it was shared on Threads. She said this in response to Perry's reaction to Justin Bieber's Coachella performance. She said, and I quote, "Katy Perry sexual assaulted me at Spice Market nightclub in Melbourne. Who gives a shit what she thinks?" She also added that she was only in my early 20s at the time of the alleged incident, and it has taken almost 2 decades to say this publicly. Though I am so grateful to have made it long enough to find my voice, it just shows how much of an impact trauma and sexual assault takes. Now here's what she said she allegedly did. She said, and I quote, "Perry saw her resting on her best friend's lap to avoid her and bent down, pulled her underwear to the side, and rubbed her disgusting vagina on my face until my eyes snapped open and I projectile vomited on her." Rose also posted that as a woman, for a myriad of reasons, opening up about woman-on-woman violence and sexual abuse seems to be 100 times harder than speaking about the male predators, at least for me. She also said she is not interested in filing a report over this, But she did say, Perry is more than welcome to sue me. She won't because it happened. I have photos and it was literally in public and witnessed by multiple people. Plus, there is so much more that happened in the years leading up to her silly song she won't want me discussing. The psychological manipulation was strong at that one. She also made the claim that Perry wrote and signed the letters of recommendation for her U.S. visa application in the 2010s. So, when Katy Perry came out with the song, I Kissed a Girl, we all know the lyrics, I kissed a girl and I liked it. What about the girl? Did she like it too? Or was it assault? It's not so far-fetched for singers to talk about what they've done in the past or even show it in videos. And we're going to talk about that in our next story. But as for this one, Perry's rep said, the allegations being circulated on social media by Ruby Rose about Katy Perry are not only categorically false, they are dangerous, reckless lies. Miss Rose has a well-documented history of making serious public allegations on social media against various individuals, claims that have repeatedly been denied by those named. I'm just going to give my opinion. I have never liked Katy Perry. There has always been something about her that just rubbed me the wrong way. Now, I don't know if she assaulted Ruby Rose, but I'm not ready to call Ruby Rose a liar. Not just yet. And now we're going to move on to our second story that went viral on the internet. Now, when I first heard this story, I can't say that I was very surprised because we all know that pedophilia is rampant in the entertainment industry. Singer David has been charged in killing 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, and he has also been dropped by his label, and his song collabs have been pulled. Former fans are also calling on streaming sites to remove his music. An autopsy concluded that Celeste died of multiple penetrating injuries. Let's cut the bull. He's a pedophile, and he was taking advantage of this young 14-year-old girl who did not know any better. A 14-year-old should never be counted on to have good judgment. And that's why it's easy for predators like David to take advantage of young girls, because they don't know any better. According to the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office, Celeste had wounds on her chest and her tummy that may represent sharp force injuries. Now, the report was signed in December, but it was sealed for months at the request of police. She had a tattoo reading shush. It was found on the inside of her right index finger. And this is a similar tattoo that David had on his finger. They noted on her left hand, 2 fingers had been removed. Now, how this all went down, they found her dismembered body in a Tesla that was traced back to David. The car was abandoned in the Hollywood Hills and later towed to a police impound lot, and that's when an employee noticed a foul smell coming from the trunk and contacted the police. In early 2024, Celeste's family reported her missing several times. And in January, she appeared on a Twitch live stream with David. And between that time and March 2024, he was pictured getting out of a black Tesla near her home. Celeste was also photographed backstage at one of his Los Angeles shows in June 2024. She was last seen alive going to his home in April of 2025. So this man was molesting this girl right under everybody's noses. And I'm going to tell you, some people knew about it and they kept quiet. Just like Diddy, just like R. Kelly. Some people feel that pedophilia is the norm, and it's not. It's sick. It's preying on kids. According to prosecutors, he had been sexually molesting this girl and killed her when she threatened to expose him and tarnish his musical career. He was arrested and pleaded not guilty to a first-degree murder charge. David has also been charged with continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14 years old and mutilating human remains. They also found a lot of child pornography on his phone, but the worst part is what he did to Celeste. Her arms and legs were severed. She also had skin abrasions. But the medical examiner couldn't determine the causes because of the severe decomposition of the body. According to the forensic pathologist, the injuries were consistent with stabbing, and Celeste probably was dismembered after she died. The family's attorney released a statement saying the Rivas-Hernandez family is absolutely devastated by the findings contained in the medical examiner's report involving the horrible and gruesome death of their beloved daughter. They respectfully ask for privacy, understanding, and patience as they process this information. Now, for the moms out there listening, I know you might have daughters that are difficult. They don't want to listen to you. They think they're grown. It just goes with the territory. But I'm telling you, hold on to your daughters. Don't try to be their friend. That's the worst thing you can do. Now, some others might argue that down. Oh, me and my daughter, we are best friends. Okay, you might be best friends, but best friends don't always respect each other the way a parent and a child might. If you've been their friend and you've been letting them get away with a lot, now's the time to step back and think, is this going to be for her best interest? Me acting like her friend instead of her mother? And for the young girls, you might be thinking that your moms are so old and they're so out of touch and they just don't get you. Let me tell you something. If you have a good mom and a good dad, they get you and they want the best for you. They don't want you to end up in the hands of predators like David. So just think about your actions. And if you are in over your head with an older man, you need to tell your parents and you need to stop what you're doing because that man does not love you. He's taking advantage of you. All right. Now, David's attorney says that his client is innocent, and I quote, "The actual evidence in this case will show that David Burke, that's his real name, did not murder Celeste Rivas-Hernandez, and he was not the cause of her death. We will vigorously defend David's innocence." Yeah, right. That's what he gets paid to say. Now, in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty, but I think police have a pretty strong motive. If she threatened to blow his secret out of the water, that was his excuse for killing her. For people like him, it's okay to be a pedophile behind closed doors as long as the public doesn't know. And that's how you know these people know that they're wrong. Because if they were right, they'd do it out in the open. And that is just that. We're going to move on and end on a good note with a flowery, feel-good story. Is your country polite? Well, we're going to find out which nation is known for the most respectful public behavior in the world. There are different definitions of polite. For some, it's about formality and tradition, while others say it's about friendliness and openness. It is unilateral respect across cultures, and some say that goes a long way in showing how good or not so good a country is. So is your country one of the top dogs? Listen up. The country at the top of the list for being polite is Japan. It earned more than a third of the votes. Its reputation was founded on customs like bowing, choosing your words carefully, and unity. Canada, my girl and motto Leisha's country, comes in as second. Canada is known for its easygoing nature of its citizens. In third place was the United Kingdom. They have a long tradition of formal manners and understated communication. And next up is China, where structured etiquette and respect within social hierarchies shape perceptions of courtesy. Germany comes in at number 5. Politeness is shown through punctuality, orderliness, and adherence to the rules. And the countries that are bringing up the rear are the Philippines, Sweden, Denmark, and Finland. Rounding out the top 10 is South Africa, and they're known for their friendliness and cultural emphasis on respect across diverse communities. And those are the top 10 most polite countries in the world. I wanted to end this episode on a good note, but I'm afraid that I can't because we have to talk about this bogus second assassination attempt on Trump. People are posting on social media, the left is saying it's a hoax. You're damn right we're saying it's a hoax because there are too many holes in this story. I implore you, especially if you're outside of the United States, to open your eyes and actually pay attention to what's going on with this administration. Trump is no stranger to lies. And back in 2024, you best believe that so-called assassination attempt on him was staged. He did it to garner sympathy, and he did it to get votes, and it worked, but it's not going to work this time. This so-called alleged assassination is nothing more than a distraction to get people's eyes off the Epstein files and off of what he's doing to Iran. And guess what? It's not going to work. Let's take a little bit of time to dig into this. And I mean quickly, because I don't like giving any part of my podcast to Trump. First and foremost, the suspect has been identified as Cole Allen. He's 31 years old. From what I can tell, he's black, and Lord knows Trump has been waiting to paint black people as atrocious, and he finally got his wish, or so he thinks. I'm going to give you a lot of reasons as to why I'm not buying this, but here's one of them. Allen is very intelligent. He's a game developer, an engineer, a scientist, a teacher, and he had just finished his master's program in computer science at California State University. He graduated with a 3.9 GPA. You're telling me that someone who worked that hard is going to throw away their whole future on Trump? Bull. Here's why this is so sickening to me. There has not been an assassination attempt against a president since John F. Kennedy, okay? He was assassinated in front of the entire world, and it was a shame, and it left a very dark stain on this country that still exists to this day. Afterwards, his brother, Robert F. Kennedy Sr., was assassinated, all right? So to use these assassination attempts as sensationalism or to garner sympathy, keep in mind we are dealing with a man who has lied his whole life. That is Donald Trump. We are dealing with a man who had a TV show, and he's using the Oval Office to make his own personal little movies that place him in a good light in his mind. He wants the world to sympathize and empathize with him and think he's a good president. That's not going to happen, no matter how many people he pays or dupes into being would-be assassins. Trump would like us to believe that this very educated man walked into D.C. Hilton with a .38 caliber semi-automatic pistol and a 12-gauge shotgun for no apparent reason and tried to assassinate him. First of all, J.D. Vance was the one that was sitting near the camera. They got him out first. Now, I remember as far back as Reagan. He was the president when I was a little girl. I've never seen anybody rush to get the vice president first before they go to the president. There was a long stretch of time from the time that they got J.D. Vance to the time that they got to Trump. If you watch it, it is just so weird. And then to top it off, there's a guy that was eating a salad throughout the whole thing. His name is Michael Glantz, and he said because he was born and raised in New York, he wasn't afraid, and he didn't want to get on the floor because of germs, and he had a bad back. Let me tell you something. I have a bad back, but you let a gunman come in anywhere where I'm at, damn that salad, and I'm getting on the floor. According to Attorney General Todd Blanche, the subject allegedly got off a couple shots and struck a Secret Service agent while the agent was wearing a bulletproof vest. Keep in mind that Blanche petitioned the court to drop all charges against the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys were tried and convicted by a jury of their peers for violence, a host of terrible, despicable things they did on January 6th. He petitioned the court to drop all charges, and let me tell you what else he did. There were people over the years who infiltrated dangerous groups like the KKK and kept track of them and fed information to the government. He wants them indicted. So now, here's the writing on the wall, people. We have a black man, he looks black to me, as the would-be shooter of Donald Trump. They could not have planned this any more perfectly. All right? There's no way that I'm going to believe that this man just decided to throw away his life, just like the boy in 2024 lost his life for allegedly trying to kill Donald Trump. Nobody's trying to kill Trump. Because I'm going to tell you what, If they were trying to kill him, he'd already be dead. There's no way all these botched attempts at taking his life are going down without a hitch. It is all orchestrated. It is all mastermind, and it makes me sick. Don't fall for it, people. These are the thorns in the White House. Don't fall for it. Well, listeners, I've said all that I need to say in this episode. You know that I love sitting here talking with you, but I'm out of time. If you learned anything from this episode, you know what to do. Hit that follow button, no matter what's going on in the world. Make yourself a priority. Take good care of yourself and take good care of each other. I will be back with more stories. So until then, be easy. Have the best time of your lives. Take care. And as always, God bless.